So the next trick we're going to learn is double or nothing. Double or nothing is actually quite important. So there's a couple of things. So 1.5, trapeze and its brother, trapeze, and double or nothing. These four mounts you use countless of times in almost any situations when you're learning new tricks, learning future more advanced tricks. So trapeze, trapeze and its brother, 1.5, and then double or nothing. These ones you want to be able to flow in between different mounts amongst those. So it's you going back in and out of trapeze, double or nothing, 1.5, and trapeze and its brother. Those four are key essential mounts. So we already learned the trapeze, so let's move on to the next one, which is double or nothing. This is essentially what double or nothing looks like. If you think about it, double or nothing is actually not too different from a trapeze. It's basically, it's basically a trapeze, except for you have one extra wrap around your fingers. So this is what trapeze looks like. From one hand to the other hand, there's a string, and your yo-yo is landing on that string. So double or nothing has an extra wrap, but if you ignore this extra wrap that's gone around your fingers and you're starting from here, it's just a trapeze. If you ignore the back string here, which I'm holding, see, this is just a trapeze here. Triple or nothing, same thing. If you ignore all these back strings here, it's just a small trapeze. Quadruple or nothing. If you ignore all these back strings here, it's just a trapeze. So the idea is, you kind of treat it a bit like a trapeze, but I can understand that it's going to be more difficult with extra wraps around the fingers. If you think about it in another way, this is double or nothing. If you take out the extra wraps, it's just a trapeze. So we think of it as a trapeze. So once you get double or nothing, then triple or nothing, or quadruple or nothing, should all become a lot easier. So let's start with double or nothing. We are going to go through how to get into double or nothing, and then I'll go into troubleshooting, what might be going wrong, what will make it a bit easier, what's the kind of common mistakes or common problems people have, how to troubleshoot that, and then we'll finish off in doing how to dismount, including how to go from double or nothing into different trapezes, and how to go from a trapeze to double or nothing. Okay, cool. So when you're going to a double or nothing, given that it's just over both hands and a trapeze, so you need to kind of just get used to go over both hands. That's the step one, right? Or triple or nothing will be over both hands twice. So how do you do that? So when you first throw, actually let's start with this throw. You have that momentum of it swinging around. So you use that momentum to go over both fingers. If this is troubling you, which I don't think it is at the moment, you can skip any of these steps, by the way, if you've already kind of mastered that bit. But we can start by one at a time. So trapeze is this, but double or nothing, you kind of want to miss that string to the front. So the yo-yo is missing to the front of the string, not behind, but you're missing to the front. Sorry, I'm struggling with hay fever every morning. So you miss to the front, and then you can let go and try and do that the same thing. This is not as important, it's just to give you the feeling of when you're doing a trapeze, you're going over with just a little bit of the string left onto a longer string. The double or nothing, it's going to have to go over both your fingers. So you're just getting into the feeling of letting the longer string drape around your non-zero hand finger. That's all this is for. And after you've just done a couple of times, just to get the feeling of having that longer string draping around, you've got, oh, okay, that's not enough momentum. Oh, okay, that's maybe a little bit more momentum. Oh, that's a bit too fast. And then you kind of get the feeling of that nice, smooth, consistent loop around. And then it's time to move on. So the next part is to go over both fingers. Like this. You can drop the string, wait for it to swing back, and try again. So you're just using your momentum and your fingers just being put in the way to kind of like just have it, you're kind of cutting into the string to have it wrap around each other, as you can see. But in this particular instance, there's two fingers for it to go over. And that's it, 2 fingers over. And that's all you really need to practice. for that. Okay. So the third part of this equation is to have it actually land on the final trapeze or double or nothing part of things. So you go over, and then if you're not ready, you can just swing, wait for the right moment, and land. And then you drop everything, go over both, land. If you want, you can even break it down. Go 1, 2, 3. Drop everything, go over one finger, over the second one, and land. So, after that part where you've gone over both, and you land on the trapeze, or double nothing, then now it's time to go into using the momentum to carry on around. Use the momentum to continue on around and land. Use the momentum to continue on around and land. So it's nice and smooth. So there's no point trying to do it as quick as possible if you can't land it. So if you want to try and do it fast, you might end up getting all jittery and then actually not looking good, or it's actually not very fast. So at first, what I recommend is trying to do it really slowly, but focus on landing it. Really slowly, but focus on landing it. And as you get better, the speed will actually pick up. So you'll go, okay, ooh, okay. And then if you find yourself missing it, let me try. Like this, then go, okay, let me slow down a bit. But to be honest, you're going to be doing double or nothing so many times. Speed and accuracy is just going to pick up automatically. So you could just get used to doing it really slowly right now. At this point, I think getting it slow, nice and smooth, and more consistent is the key rather than trying to do it fast. With most things, unless you're trying to do like a speed combo, speed is not really important. I mean, like you can do most things really nice and slow, and it will still look pretty decent. Doesn't have to be a fast combo. Have to be a fast combo to make things look good. Some things it will just look better if it's a bit faster, with a little bit of speed. But that speed needs to be controllable speed. It has to be a bit more. It's just looking smooth is the main thing in yoga. I don't think going fast is what impresses people. It's just a nice, smooth, solid trick set. That's what's going to be more impressive going forward. So once you get to the double or nothing, doing it in one motion, now it's time to move on to dismounts. But before we do that, let's start by troubleshooting on double nothing. So first thing is, one of the things that we want to avoid, and I want you guys to get good at, is to be able to learn tricks in a consistent manner. So what I mean is, you know when we did the trapeze, instead of like trying to land the yo-yo, and it feels a bit like a potluck, like, ooh, am I gonna land it this time? Okay, this is more of like a, what do you call it? Like a physical skill, where it's all about hand-eye coordination. Whereas running your fingers along the string is more of a technique. It's something that you can do consistently throughout, and you should be able to bounce in and out. It's something that over time, if you know the right technique, it shouldn't feel like it's luck. It's just your skill set. So I want all these to feel like it's your skill set, and you're doing it because you're doing it in the right technique, not because sometimes if I'm lucky I land it, sometimes if I'm unlucky I don't land it, because if that happens, then it's not fun. Because if all your beginner tricks feels like luck to you, then you're not really going to be able to carry on doing more advanced things. And then when you want to do a trick, if each element feels like there's luck involved, then it's going to hinder your progress. So with double nothing, just like trapeze, the technique is just as the string hits your finger and it's going round. Remember on trapeze, as your strings, or hitting your finger, or you start by with your finger on the string already to mimic the string hit. You run your finger along as it hits the finger. You run your finger, oh shit, sorry. You run your finger along to force that yo-yo onto the string. So as that hit there, as the string hits the finger, you run your finger along and you are effectively forcing that yo-yo back onto that rail. So as it hits the string, just as that string hit the finger, you run your finger along. Oops. You run your finger along and you're catching that yo-yo on the string. And that's the technique, right? Where all you're doing is running, kind of like cutting into it. You're kind of like, in that kind of sense, forcing the yo-yo. Don't do it in this way. I'm just kind of like demonstrate. You're forcing the yo-yo onto the string. So the double or nothing is the same thing. Just as you feel after it's gone around your hand, just as when you feel the string touching your finger, you want to pull your hand apart ever so slightly to give the same motion. Treat it like a trapeze. So this is what happens. It goes around and there, when it touches your finger, that's when you move your hands apart ever so slightly to guide it onto the string. I'm not sure if you can see my fingers. Just concentrate on my fingers and you'll see it like, not a lot, just this amount, which is enough to guide it onto the string. I'm trying to exaggerate a bit so you can see the hands moving apart. But normally, the amount I'll move it is quite minimal, but it's just enough to like give it a little gentle tug, guide it onto the string. Oops. Okay, so you just give it a little gentle tug and you guide it onto the string. This is what's going to make it more consistent for you going forward. So the next thing is string separation. So what makes double or nothing a bit more difficult compared to just the trapeze is string separation. So what I mean by that is trapeze, you have one string and you're landing the yo-yo on just that singular string. So there's no other strings to avoid and it's just going straight onto that string. With a double nothing, this is what happens. You have a Z shape and you're trying to land it on the frontmost string away from you. So this is where you want it to be. Landing on just the front string and not missing the middle or the back string. What will happen quite a lot and when you're starting is you end up like grabbing the middle string as well. So let me try and see if I can demonstrate. So what would happen quite a lot is you end up doing this, where you caught the middle string as well as the front string, and then now you're into this kind of mount. You just want to go over just the front string, but you end up going over, oops, maybe I should not do this one dead yo-yo, but you might end up catching both the middle and the front string. So what causes this? Firstly, it's going to be, to some extent, error in your precision on which string you land. And also, it's this string separation. So let's start working on the string separation first, because that you can fix easily. So when you have string separations, you want those strings to be, you want those strings to be as far apart as possible so that it's easier to pick out one string. If it's all clumped up together like this, you're going to have a very small margin for error to just get onto that right string. So first way to avoid doing this is when you go around, where your string wraps around your finger becomes more important. When it's a trapeze, you can go around the base of your finger, you can go around like the middle of your finger, or you can go around just at the tip of your finger. And then it doesn't really make too much of a difference where the string sits in relation to your finger, because there's only one string. When it's double nothing, triple nothing, or when you have more wraps around the finger, where that string sits becomes more and more important. So trying to keep a conscious mind of it. If you get in a bad habit of having it go around like a trapeze around here in the middle with a small gap, it becomes a lot more difficult to fix this going forward. So it's better to kind of get the habit right now than later on. So the first time it goes around your non-throw hand finger, it should go around the base. There you go. It should go around the base of your finger like this. This is where you want it to wrap around. And on your non-throw hand finger, you want it to wrap around the middle. And then finally, on your back one over your throw hand finger, you want to go over it at the front. So it should be like this, so that you're having it as spread apart as possible, those three strings. So if I show you from this angle, over the base of your finger, over the middle of your finger, and over the edge. See that compared to something like, say like this, you're going to be able to get maximum separation of each string. And just by doing this, you have this much room over here between my base and the top, this much room to work with. So make sure you wrap around your fingers so you can have maximum spread without doing anything else. Just by doing this, you have maximum spread to be able to catch that string separation. The next thing you need to think about is, in a trapeze, it's important to land closer to your non-throw hand finger as possible. And I know we covered this before, but the reason being is the further your yo-yo is away from your non-throw hand finger, each degree of difference makes it a much more pronounced separation going like this. So even just like a single degree or two is going to make the string sit outside of the catch zone of the yo-yo, like this. Whereas if the yo-yo was a lot closer to your throw hand finger, then it's going to have serious variation to go outside of the catch zone. Anything around the rim is still catching. Okay, so that is that's a reason why you want to have the yo-yo as close to your non-throw hand finger as possible when you're landing in double nothing. But it's not just that. It's, if you look at it from the angle that I'm using for this demonstration, the closer you are to your non-throw hand finger, see, the bigger the separation, because it's a bit of a Z shape, where the string is going across like this. You can see at the base of your non-throw hand finger, you have a big gap where it's easier to separate out one string. But as it's going closer and closer to your throw hand finger, the gap narrows. So it's vital that you stay closer to here if you're having string separation issues. The final tip I can give you is, I don't know, I see a lot of people do this, and I don't think it's a cheat. Some people might say it's a cheat, but to be honest, whatever works, right? So I started off doing it this way. This is kind of how I learned it as well. And after a while, you just stop doing it. It's just, I don't even know when I stopped doing it. But at the beginning, I used to do double or nothing like this. Let me see if you can notice the difference. Oops, sorry. So what I will do is, just as the yo-yo has gone around both hands, I'll use my thumb to just pull back the string ever so slightly, land it, and then let go. So, oops, okay. Let me just do this properly. Pull back, and land, and let go. Going around normally, pull back and land, and let go of the string with your thumb. If you want, you can even pull back with both thumbs to give you maximum string separation. And let go. Okay, so what this does is, so you remember this little Z shape? If you pull back with your thumb here, see how much string separation you're getting there? You've got massive amount of room. It's very unlikely you're going to be catching other strings to go on there. If you pull back with both thumbs, it is literally like a trapeze, and you'll have something else in the background where you have all this space just land on that thing, and then after it lands, you just let go. That is literally it. After a while, getting into double or nothing should be something that's so ingrained in your muscle memory that you, unless you're trying to go do something very different, like we're doing now, where I'm trying to do step by step or break it down, that's like a slightly unfamiliar motion maybe, you shouldn't really be missing it. And after a while, you just don't really think about it, and then you don't pull back, it just happens. But at first, just pulling back that little bit is going to give you so much more space to land on it. And if you still struggle, pull back on both thumbs, and it's a matter of missing the string on the inside or on the outside, or outside or inside, yeah. It's a matter of missing the string, which is something that's just going to get better over time. But it's not going to be one where you're landing on both the strings like this, or even sometimes, all three strings like this. And that's not a double nothing, it's just kind of like or in the middle strings, there's various ways things go wrong, and most of the way it's not you missing the string, it's you landing on the wrong string or multiple strings. So that's the way to get better at it. First one, base of your finger, middle of your finger, see? Create that Z with as much end separation as possible. Be as close to your throw hand finger as non-throw hand finger as possible, so that it's where the separation is at the maximum. And finally, pull back, or pull back with both, to give that string as much separation as you need. That's really it. That's troubleshooting for double or nothing. Okay, so dismounts. If you got this far, hopefully double or nothing should be something that you can do really easily. And then so what you'll be doing right now is you'll go into double or nothing, let go, and then this would have been a stage where you got quite easy. Now maybe you want to practice going into it from a trapeze. So let's do the trapeze bit first. So from a trapeze, there is various ways to get into double or nothing. I think today we'll only go over the basic way. So from a trapeze, one way to get into double or nothing would be from a trapeze, one way to get into double or nothing would be something like this. But as easy as that looks, might irritate you at first. So we're not going to go over that yet. Another way to get into double or nothing actually is quadrubo is a way to get into a double or nothing from a trapeze. But today we're going to learn the most simplest way, which is this. From here, you can even think about it, if you break it down, as tossing the yo-yo out to that side, bring your hands back across, and then going to double nothing. So from here, what's happening in a slow motion, you just toss the yo-yo out, you bring your hands so that the string goes over both yo-yos, and onto double nothing. And then when you start doing it, and then you're trying to generate that momentum. So how you do it is, from a trapeze, you're flicking the yo-yo out, and you're letting that string run along your finger. It's like this is as if it's like a fulcrum or a pivot. Like this. And then you see that swing is happening, where you got that momentum going on. And then your hands, from a trapeze, your hands, as you flick that over, your two hands are getting closer together to give that string some length. And it's that it's that length that's created that gives it that momentum. Okay? So at first you just want to practice doing this. For a trapeze, just throw the yo-yo out to the side. And you're kind of doing it by, remember every hop is, most hops, or almost every hops, is a product of putting your hand apart and using that trampoline motion. So here is the same thing. Have your non-throw hand a little bit higher up, have your throw hand a little bit lower, and if you hop, if you pull your hands apart and then put it together, see, it's making the yo-yo hop that way. So if it's same level, it's probably going to hop this way. If it's ever so slightly lower, it's going to hop up. The more you change the angle, it depends on which way it's going to hop. So from a trapeze, you hop it out and use that momentum to go back into a double nothing. Hop. Or you can even do that. Remember when we did the first double nothing exercise, we went like this, wait, and then on, and then we did this. So the next form of this would be something like trapeze, hop, on, trapeze, hop, on. Oh, sorry, I got ahead of myself there. Trapeze, hop, on, trapeze, hop, on. And then once you get better at that, it will just go straight for trapeze, hop, swing, on. Oops. Trapeze, hop, swing, on. Trapeze, okay, let's do it start from here. Trapeze, hop, swing, on. Trapeze, hop, swing, on. So this is where you're going to. You're building up bit by bit. So trapeze, hop, swing, on. Trapeze, hop, swing, on. And I guess right now you're just dropping it. Trapeze, hop, swing, on. Trapeze, hop, swing, on. Trapeze, hop, swing, on. Okay, now to get that practice a bit more efficient, we're going to have to know how to dismount from a double nothing. So when we say a dismount, dismount is actually, I think, the proper ending to all tricks. So when you do a trick, finishing a trick isn't where the trick really ends. You need to know how to go back to. So you can't say double nothing, even if it's just double nothing. It doesn't look good when you're trying to do a trick. You do this, go, hey, I've done it, and then you go into a bind. It's better if you know how to go back into trapeze. So you can go into a bind, or even if it's just that. So the proper way a trick really ends is either going all the way into a bind or going back to trapeze. If you think about it as the starting point for almost any trick, you want to learn the dismount, how to get back. And then from there you can add on new tricks or go into a bind or combo with other things. Going into like a familiar mount, most like the trapeze, is what we call the dismount. I'm not sure what other tricks are there. So say like tricks like, okay, actually we can even just do it. This is called a wrist mount. Getting into wrist mount isn't the end of the trick. It's from here, getting back into trapeze, the whole, including dismount, is what I would consider the full trick. So say for example, spirit bomb. So a spirit bomb looks something like this. Oops. Sorry, I totally missed that hop, didn't I? So this is what the spirit bomb looks like, but it's not not complete until you finish with a dismount. That was a quite embarrassing spirit bomb. But anyway, so double or nothing dismounts. There's going to be 3 ways I'm going to teach you. There's obviously most things have infinite way we can get out, but these 3 are the ones that I think is basic enough for you to be able to start doing straight away. and it's ones that you're going to be using for other tricks, or it's going to build up towards other tricks that I have planned for you. So the first one I think is going to be basically so double or nothing. All you do is you drop your finger from your throw hand like this. This was where you were, you just drop. That's all that's happening. And then you can roll the yo-yo from left to right and over, and it's into a trapeze. So to show you again, double or nothing, drop, roll the yo-yo from your left to your right, if you're right-handed obviously, and it's into trapeze. So it's just got an extra wrap around your finger here. So if I were to remove that extra wrap, it's in a trapeze. So to remove that extra wrap, you see how when you're in a trapeze and you want to get off the trapeze, you roll over out of it. So double or nothing is basically the same thing, where you had that extra wrap. This is double or nothing. So you're just rolling out and then roll out one more time to even come off the trapeze. If you're in a triple or nothing, this will make a bit more sense if I do this. In a triple or nothing, you roll out into double or nothing, you roll out into trapeze, and then you roll out one more time to come off the trapeze. So, entire one looks like this. That's it. So, you can start by first going drop, swing, trapeze, drop, swing, into a trapeze. What you'll probably find at the beginning is, because there's this finger in the way, you'll probably swing out and then have it drape like that, and you'll let go. You'll probably get to this and go, oh, that's not a trapeze. But all you're doing is letting that string drop. And then after a while, you just go drop, and you'll kind of have that finger curled away in anticipation, so you won't have that issue anymore. And then once you get more better at it, instead of breaking down into drop and roll out, you can just start going straight over it. So to break it down, what's happening is, drop, roll out, drop, roll out, drop, roll out, drop, roll out, drop, roll. That's the first dismount. Second dismount is, so the second dismount is just going the opposite direction. But this is useful because you want to be able to go into things in one way and the other way, so that you can bounce in and out of different mounts. So if you can only go into trapeze from trapeze and its brother from a trapeze, what if you wanted to go into it from, say, a double or nothing? You want to go into it from a double or nothing without doing the trapeze. So this is trapeze and its brother, say double or nothing, and then you roll straight out into trapeze and its brother. Everything, so from trapeze and its brother, no, that's 1.5. So say trapeze and its brother, you want to go all the way around into double nothing, or you might want to go this way. So with everything, you want to kind of be able to do it backwards if you can, especially for the kind of earlier fundamentals. So all we're going to do is go exactly the opposite direction, roll out. So you know how we did trapeze, over, across, on. Now we're doing the exact opposite of that. We're mirroring that motion. So remember when we did from a trapeze, you hopped off, hopped on, hopped off, hopped on. This is basically the exact same thing with double nothing. You're hopping off without putting your finger in the way, and you'll swing. Hop off, hop off. And then how you hop off almost every hop, I'm going to go over this again and again, is you pull your hands apart a little bit. We're just pulling your hands apart a little bit and putting just a little bit of pressure on your finger just to toss it out. Oops. I'm losing spin. So, hop off by moving your hands apart a little bit. Oops. Hop off. On. Hop off. So you might want to just practice hopping off and back on. For now, hop off, back on, hop off, back on, hop off, oops. And then once you get better at that, do the next bit. Hop off, and then what you're doing is you're continuing to pull your hands apart to guide the yo-yo back onto the string. So you can just practice doing this. From here, onto the string. From here, pull your hands apart onto the string. You're just pulling your hands apart, guiding it onto the string, putting it out again, and using this swinging momentum to pull it back. Oops. So pull back, on, pull back, on, and then once you start putting all of that together, it should look like this. You've done the hop off bit and the hop on bit, right? So hop off, on. So, hop off, on, hop, back, hop off, on, hop, back, hop off, on, hop off, on, swing, oh, trapeze, swing, trapeze, swing, trapeze, swing, double or nothing, hop off, trapeze, swing, double or nothing, hop off, trapeze. Trapeze, swing. So this is the second dismount. So the whole thing will look like this. Oh no, that's the first dismount, sorry. Whole thing will look like this. And then go into a bind. So that's double or nothing. This is the first swing. Double or nothing the first way. I keep forgetting which one I'm doing. Double or nothing the second way. Sorry, I'm confusing myself. Okay, let's do it properly. Double or nothing the first way. Double or nothing the second way. Now the third way, it's probably the most simplest, but you're gonna have to get used to landing the hop. And then with any hop, you land it by pulling your hands apart, forcing the yo-yo on. Any hop, you do it by pulling your hands apart, forcing the yo-yo off with a trampoline effect, right? So this is what double or nothing looks like. Yeah, let's show it like this. So there's two strings. There's 3 bits where it's tied to your finger. 1, 2, and 3. You let go of the front 2 most bits, like that, to just drop the strings. Oops. So what you're doing is you're basically going back onto a trapeze. Remember I showed you that if you remove the extra wrap around the fingers, so extra wrap around the fingers is basically a trapeze. So you're kind of doing that. So you're dropping this one, and then you're landing it. That's basically what's happening. You drop the first 2, and then you land it onto the string. But the difference is, we're not letting it go down all the way and having to jump it back up to the string. You're kind of like letting it go around here and then just letting it drop onto the string. So this is going to be a lot simpler for you. So let me show you what I mean. You're going to be drop and land. Drop but it's not a drop. It's not a drop and a jump. It's you hopping the yo-yo up, and as the yo-yo is traveling up, you drop it, but the string should already be down there. So jump the yo-yo up, right? You can even do it by moving your two hands up really fast if you find it difficult to pull your hands apart. So you hop the yo-yo up, let go of the string, and land on the string. At first, you might want to just practice letting it go. Hop, let go. Hop, let go. And then you can see that the yo-yo is suspended in midair for a little bit of time. Hop, let go. What you want to do is when that yo-yo is suspended, next, try to catch it onto this string. Hop, let go, land. Hop, let go, land. So how you do that is you start pulling your hands apart ever so slightly to guide the yo-yo back onto the string. Hop, let go, pull. Oops. Hop, let go, pull, and drag the yo-yo along onto the string. Hop, pull. Hop, pull. Hop, pull. Hop, pull. Hop, but don't land. Okay, that's how you get. Feel that feeling of the yo-yo being suspended. You might even want to do this. Hop, pull. Actually, that's more like elapse. Let's skip. Let's not do that for now. Let's go on to that later, next time. So, hop, pull, land. So this is a great way to transition from double nothing because it's probably the fastest way, right? Instead of having to roll out of it, you're literally just going to double nothing, oh, going double nothing, land on, double nothing, land on, double nothing. After a while, you don't even have to land it on the trapeze. If you find it easier, you can go in and out of the. So you remember on the trapeze, you chucked it out and it went back to double nothing. It's kind of like that here. We're chucking it out and then you're landing it back into double nothing. You're just dropping all the front strings. You're only keeping the rear strings. This is more for a practice. It doesn't look good. I don't think you'll ever use this in a trick. But yeah, the idea is hop, off, on, hop, off, on. So if you think about it, your first combo is actually going to be pretty much just a double nothing combo. So 3 different dismounts, 3 different ways to get it. So first dismount, second dismount, third dismount, undermount, trapeze, double nothing, first dismount, oops, second dismount, third dismount, undermount, maybe you go all the way straight into double nothing without the trapeze. That's it really. You just mix around with the 3 different mounts, 3 different dismounts and trapeze and undermount. That's pretty much it. So you can see how everything is building onto each other. At first, your first really real practice is just a repeater of trapeze, because that's the only trick that we were really working on. And then it became trapeze, undermount, trapeze, undermount, trapeze, undermount. And now we know double or nothing. It's going to be double or nothing, trapeze, off, maybe back onto trapeze, off, maybe back round into double nothing. Do one type of dismount. Maybe add in a different type of dismount. All the way to undermount without the trapeze. So even with just this, you have so much to play around with. And this should be keeping you busy for now, but I'll also make you a trapeze. The next one coming up is going to be a trapeze and trapeze and his brother video. So, all these little elements you can start comboing and it becomes a combo. So one of the kind of like trick that you're going to learn soon is called rewind, matrix and roller coaster. And this is what rewind looks like. Just a trapeze, trapeze and his brother, double or nothing and his brother. Oops, I missed that totally. Sorry, my string tension seems out of whack. Give me 1 sec to adjust it. So, rewind. But I'm probably not going to go past double nothing. All I want you to learn is up to this stage. So, trapeze and his brother, and double nothing. So we're going to learn trapeze and his brother next. But you can see how that's already a combo. Once you learn something like 1.5 now, it'll be like 1.5, trapeze and his brother, trapeze, yeah, maybe let's do it like this. So 1.5, trapeze and his brother, trapeze, double or nothing, back to a trapeze, back to double or nothing, or triple or nothing even. Something like that. So get practicing on double or nothing. I want to see nice, smooth combos out of it. See you in a bit.